Thank you. Good evening to all of you. I'm glad to be here and to have a chance to talk with you and engage with you. It's the best part of my job. The first thing I want you to realize is homelessness is not unique to the city of Sarasota. As a matter of fact, this is a nationwide problem. I'm involved with the International Association of Chiefs of Police and attend many different meetings and trainings and talking to other chiefs all across the country. This is a significant problem that's impacting law enforcement all across the country, and so it's not unique here to Sarasota. One of the issues is that nobody in the whole country has really found the solution to homelessness. I've talked to many different chiefs. As a matter of fact, we've looked at best practices all across the country, and we've been picking and grabbing ideas. And I have to tell you, you're very lucky in the city of Sarasota, me too, because I live here, to have Tom Barwin as the city manager here. He's the best boss I've ever worked with, and I'm not saying that because he's here, because I say that when he doesn't know I'm saying it. He's the best boss I've ever worked with. He's collaborative, he's a problem solver, he believes in getting input from a lot of different people, and he does a great job, and he lets the people around him do their job, and he lets us do our job, and he's still interested in what we're doing. As a matter of fact, we meet often to discuss homeless issues. He has been, I think he and I have talked more about homelessness in the last over 2 years that I've been here than any other issue that we ever have dealt with in the city of Sarasota. And I have to tell you, a significant part of my job deals with homelessness. And to be quite frank, it's not a crime to be homeless, but it's fallen into the lap of police departments to deal with homelessness because, do you know why? It's because when you call, we respond. And I don't think there's any other organization or entity other than maybe EMS, the emergency management people, and they might maybe show up, but that are going to come to you when you call. And you don't know who else to call. Who do you call when you have an issue that's concerning a homeless person? When I worked in Baltimore County, I was a narcotics officer for a number of years, and when I first started as a narcotics officer, I had these visions of grandeur. I said, I am going to stop drugs all over the world, all over the world. A couple minutes later, I'm like, okay, maybe just the United States. I'll just stop the influx of drugs in the United States. And then I said, okay, just Maryland, okay, just Baltimore County where I was working. And then I was like, okay, maybe just Dundalk, this area where I'm working. And I finally got down to, I made it manageable to maybe just this one house. Maybe I can impact this one house, because guess what? That one house is a world. That's somebody's world that we are going to be impacting, and their whole family. And then we go to the next one. That's how the Sarasota Police Department's looking at homelessness. There's not one solution to homelessness. There is not this one big answer, because every different individual has a different reason why they're homeless. So we are taking it one person at a time. And it really deals with community policing. And it's not just the police, it's partnerships with Suncoast, with the county, with the Salvation Army, with Resurrection House, with the mental health, with the Sheriff's Office, with the hospitals. We have so many partners, and that includes all of you in this room are partnering with us to figure out how are we going to end homelessness, because ultimately that's what our job is. That's what we all want to happen. But we can't just say, okay, this is the one solution, everybody goes into this house. It doesn't work that way, because one person might have mental health issues, one might have addictions issues, one might have economic issues. And by the way, if anybody knows where there's jobs, please let me know, because we have people that are constantly looking for jobs, but there's no jobs for people, which is a big challenge with dealing with both homelessness and also drug crimes within our community. So what we've done is we put together, based on some of our research from other communities and other police departments. As a matter of fact, just recently I was in San Antonio, Texas, and where they have a shelter, and I didn't get a chance to go to visit it. The chief there put something together, but I was tied up in another meeting and couldn't go. But I have to tell you, there's a whole lot more homeless in San Antonio, Texas than there is in Sarasota, because I walked down the street as a tourist, and every couple of steps there was a homeless person looking for money all along the way. So that's why I said it's not unique to Sarasota. But what we did do is, when we went out and looked at other jurisdictions, what did San Antonio do? What's San Diego doing? What's Seattle doing? What's Utah doing? What's other communities within the United States doing? The one thing that was brought back, and he's not here tonight, he just was officially promoted to captain, although that took place a little while ago, Captain Kevin Stiff. And he was one that was instrumental in going and seeing what other communities were implementing. And we brought back some ideas that the city manager and I vetted, and the city commission is vetted, and we developed basically a hot team. And I've got Acting Lieutenant Lori Jarvis here, who is instrumental in that hot team, where we actually have the Lori and Officer Dubendorf, and we have a social worker that the city hired, a civilian who is expertise is in social work. And what we do is they go out on the street and they meet people where they are. And when they go there, they talk to them. And sometimes it takes 3, 4, 10, maybe more times with engaging with the individuals to build up trust, to build up a relationship, and then find out what's their specific problem, and then direct them to the resources. Because I can tell you, this is the most generous, loving, caring community that I've ever seen in my life. Not the meanest city, the nicest city. There's so many resources for individuals in need of help. It's just a matter of, can we get this person to the help? We've been able to help a lot of veterans. The mayor declared this past year that we were going to look for help for our veterans, homeless veterans in our community. We've been able to engage with our vets and get them into some programs. And there's a lot of programs out there for our vets, and we should be doing that. We're also looking at individuals that have not been on the street a whole long amount of time, because those are actually the easiest for us to get help for. You heard about our Homeward Bound program, and no, it's not to give bus tickets to people just to get them out of Sarasota. Quite to the contrary, what we're finding is people in the northern states are handing homeless flyers saying, go to Sarasota. They have a lot of things for you there. It's not even northern states, it's within our own region that people are saying go to Sarasota because they have places to get you help. Our reputation is pretty darn good across the country. Come to Sarasota to get help. So what we're doing though is we're looking at those that low-lying fruit. They came into town, they've been here for less than 30 days. If we find, and we found this, that a lot of young people come here, they've had a fight with their family. So what Calvin Williams, our social worker, is doing is, hey, let me reunite you with the family. And that's why we're working with the Salvation Army, Resurrection House, some other organizations. When we do this Homeward Bound, the city actually put money aside that we can get them a bus ticket. But we just don't give them a bus ticket and say, get out of here. It's a bus ticket. You have to have a person at the other end. They have resources at the other end. And so it's something that's we think is going to be beneficial for us. We also are doing outreach to individuals. I know you have to know this individual. I'm not going to say his name, but he stood on the corner right around the gas station for a while. He was standing in front of a popular restaurant, Madison's downtown, and you've seen him many, many times with his artwork and everything out of there. Well, we decided we were going to try to get him help. And that's one of the big problems we have. See, we've gone, and our team thinks we have about 400 homeless that we've been able to identify in the city of Sarasota. And I agree with Leslie. That means we may probably have more. These are just the ones we've been able to find and identify. We know where the camps are. The good news is our camps have gone from like 22 down to, how many do we have, Lori? 2, 3 now camps. So there is a reduction in the number of camps that we have because of some of the outreach that we're doing. Thank you, Dale. But what we're doing is we're going out into these individual camps and finding people and reuniting them with their family. But this person that I was talking to you about, as an example, we tried to reunite this person with their family, because that's the best thing to do, is to give people back to somebody that cares for them, that has the resources to care for them, the money, the home, the love, family. And we were this close. He was ready to go. His brother was here. It was all set up, and then he decided he wasn't going to. And we can't. By law, there are so many things that we can't do legally. And I'll tell you right up front, we are not going to be able to arrest our way out of homelessness. As a matter of fact, I'm telling you, as your police chief, I'm not going to arrest our way out of homelessness, because it's the wrong way of dealing with homelessness. All that does is get you into lawsuits like they had in Miami, and you got to learn from that. But even if it wasn't for Miami, even if it wasn't for some of these case laws, it's still not the right way of dealing with homelessness. Now, that doesn't mean that we aren't going to address criminal activity like drug sales. You're going to jail. Robbery, you're going to jail. Assault, you're going to jail. Any other type of crimes. And look, even the trespass, all the other crimes that are there, we are going to strictly enforce those laws. That's our job. That's what we're here to do. But we're looking for ways that we can avoid having to put people in jail, because first of all, jail is really expensive. As a taxpayer, we don't want people in jail. Plus the court systems, from what Tom and I have been talking to judges, and I think we've talked to everybody that we possibly can. The judges, as soon as somebody goes into jail and they find out they're home, they're back out on the street again. There's a young man, you probably have seen him, I have a bunch of times, stands at the middle of Gulf Stream and 41 panhandling almost every single day. I yell at him probably a couple times a day myself. Our officers have probably arrested him 100 times or more. And I just got an email from somebody yesterday saying, can you not do something about this? Can you address it? And I had to read and rewrite that email a couple times before I responded, because, and the way I responded ended up being nice. I read it to somebody and says, is this mean? Is this okay? Because we are dealing with the individuals. As frustrated as you are, so are we as frustrated too, because we wish there was a way to get the person into housing. But quite frankly, the people we're talking about, they don't want our help. They don't want our help. But that doesn't mean we're giving up on them. It just means that they've been on the street for so long that they don't realize that there is a better life, there is a better way, and we just got to figure it out. We've got to figure out how we keep, sometimes Calvin tells us it's 8, 9, 10 times we have to re-engage with the individuals, find out what their problems are. Another positive step on what we're doing is, again, it's partnership. We're partnering with the Sarasota Memorial Hospital. This hasn't come to fruition yet, but we feel really close to this happening. Is we believe that they are going to help fund either a physician's assistant, a nurse that can prescribe medicine and deal with, which we know is significant in the homeless community, is mental health issues, and actually be able to go out and prescribe the medicine that an individual needs to get them back into a more lucid behaviors and mental capacity, because then they will then want to go into the resources that are out there within the community. The city also just within the last 6 months approved the hiring of an additional social worker, another case worker for us, and they allowed us to, from a grant that we applied for, hire 3 additional police officers, which we're in the process of doing. So we won't just have one hot team out on the street engaging with the homeless, we'll have 2. So we'll get pretty much almost, I'm not going to say 24-hour coverage, but pretty darn near close to that much coverage. So 7 days a week we will have individuals that will engage. What that does is it keeps police officers doing police work, and it allows the individuals like Lori and Dubendorf to build trust and relationships with people to get them into those resources that they need. I could go on for a long time, because like I said, I probably spend 75 to 80% of my time as a police chief dealing with homeless issues. And it's horrible that I get excited when one of my commanders comes in and says, hey, I want to talk to you about some crime issues. I'm like, oh, please, bring crime. I want to talk about crime. I can solve crime issues. So, oh, and by the way, crime is at a 20-year low. So seriously, thank you. And I accept that on behalf of the men and women in the Sarasota Police Department, because they are the ones that are working hard every single day to be out there to keep our community safe. And attacking the drugs is a huge, big thing that's helping us. Spice is the other thing that we're worried about in the homeless community, because alcohol and spice and some of these other illicit drugs are causing huge problems, and that's because people are self-medicating. Okay, they're out there, and that's why we hope we can partner with the hospital, because I think the hospital realizes they're spending millions and millions of dollars on hospital visits with individuals that maybe if they send somebody out to partner with us out on the street, we can medicate individuals there. We're not done. We still have a lot more ideas. We meet and brainstorm every 2 weeks. Like I said, I spend a significant amount of my time dealing with this, and I talk to other chiefs and other people and pull their best practices. As a matter of fact, they're pulling from our best practices. A lot of people are looking at what we're doing. One last thing to share with you, and I'll be happy to answer questions afterwards, is we are looking at having a homeless summit here for law enforcement within the city of Sarasota, and making a national law enforcement summit where we invite other people from other communities, and we specifically discuss what are best practices, and we share information and develop those best practices based on our mutual experiences in law enforcement. There's only one other time I've ever heard of someone having a summit, and that was with the international chiefs, and they talked a whole lot about it, but I didn't see very much pushed out. What we're hoping to do, Captain Stiff, is to put together this conference, bring them here to Sarasota, which will boost up the community's coffers a little bit too, and I find in the month of January, February, March, a lot of people across the country want to come here. They want to visit for some reason. So we're going to take advantage of that, but get them here and get all these brains together, because it's only through all of us working together and coming up with these ideas and working with Suncoast. And Leslie's been great working with us and working with Wayne Appleby in the county, and we're working close, with the sheriff and everybody else that we possibly can. That's how we will reduce homelessness. And get out of your mind that we're going to end homelessness. Okay, it's not happening. There's always going to be homeless, but I think there's better ways for us to deal with it, better ways for us to be able to impact the safety of our community. And I promise you, we're going to do everything we can to make you feel safe in the community, because that's important to your quality of life. Thank you so much for listening.